Well, what we've got here is my favourite meal of all time. I just love cabbage and ribs. Now, when you get the ribs, you're better off going to a butcher's. They'll do them in the supermarket. You'll get this section here, that way. So you get your bone, your meat, your bone, and nothing on the either side, nothing on the top. Now, if you go to your local butcher, your family butcher, you'll be able to get all this with it as well. All these bits. And that's what makes it for me. So I've got 20 quid's worth of ribs here. If you were to go to the supermarket, you wouldn't get anywhere near that. I get a pan of water, and it's got to be a big pan. And the reason I like to cook them outside is because it's a long, slow cook. And it fills the air with bacon, which is great. And the fats, the juices, it fills the air. It fills the house, actually. But it's a really nice smell, but all day long can be a bit of a problem. So I like to cook it out on the barbecue, and I like to make sure I've got great big pieces. I'll have a look at this here and I'll go, okay, so rather than just have little tiny bits, I'll cut it into pieces. They'll still break up, though, no doubt about it. A lot of this will break up in the cooking, but I do like to stack it that way in the pan. Straight in the water, in the cold water, no salt, no seasoning, and that's a little bit too big, so cut that in there. I'll get 2 out of that. Actually, I'm going to go for 3 out of that because it's a bit of a thick one. And it'll fit in a little gap down in the pan. Same with this here. I'll get the end. Nice sharp knife will do it. And I'll get these here. So that's that done. But don't overdo it in the water. Don't fill the pan with unnecessary water. You only want the water just to cover. Even if you have to push down the bacon ribs. Even if they stick out, which they will, they'll try to float up. That's okay, it's not a problem. But don't overdo it because it'll take longer to boil. So I'm going to put this on the barbecue now. So we've got a good pan full. We had a barbecue just a few days back. Otherwise I'd normally burn off the barbecue. So what I'll do now is, we'll wait. So now the first stage is waiting for it to get to the boil. Now you've got to be clear. Bacon ribs, cured pork, not pork ribs, not spare ribs. They've got to be bacon ribs. It's all the salt that's in them. Otherwise, you're just not going to have the same effect. You're really not. Now a lot of countries have their version of this. The Germans have sauerkraut with theirs, with their bacon ribs. But then you've got other countries that will have cabbage and ribs, and they will be pork ribs. But we do like our bacon ribs. Right, okay, that's got to a boil. We take the lid off. Bubbling away, and there's kind of what looks like a dark foamy substance on the surface. Well, that first boil for me, some people don't bother. They just boil it once. And then they put the cabbage in. And then they cook the cabbage. Once the cabbage is done and all the meat's tender, ready to serve. I don't like that. I like to boil it first to get rid of a lot of the impurities, the imperfections, and some of the salt, because sometimes they can be so salty and almost inedible. So I boil them first. I'm going to tip that water away now. I'm going to fill it up again with cold water with the ribs in it and bring it back to the boil. Once it comes back to the boil, I'm going to simmer it. Now I could simmer it for, it could be hours, it could be an hour, 2 hours. There we go, with the water tipped off. Looking great already, aren't they? So it's been 3 hours. It's a long time, isn't it? But it's been on simmer for such a long time. And this is the second boil, remember. Now, like I say, some people would say, oh, keep the original water because it's nice and salty. But sometimes it can be too salty. It's whether or not you want to take that chance. I don't like it too salty. You can always add a little bit of salt if you wanted to, but I don't like too much salt. That's my preference. Leave it in the first boil if you want. I like to do the second because, like I say, it gets rid of that primordial ooze, that pond scum that's on the top. So it's time to add the cabbage. Cut the base off and take a few leaves off that are no good, and then give it some good slicing up. Big chunks. I do like the heart as a bit of a snack. So I'll break all this up now. Now I've made a bit of space on the side there. Get it all submerged there. Got a bit of weight on it there. I'm going to bring that back to the boil and then simmer it for a little bit. So 3.5 hours, and look at this. Absolutely fantastic, and it's all the way through like that. The idea is to melt some of the fat. Perfect, just the right amount of salt. I'm going to grab Sue now. She's going to get wrapped up. We're going to sit out here and we're going to enjoy this. Maybe get a glass of wine, put some pepper on. Maybe some more salt if Sue wants any more, but fabulous.